What's up, guys, and welcome to FPL Today. I'm the man in the know, JNO, and welcome to an episode where we look at one of the promoted sides and see if we should be considering them in the Fantasy Premier League game. This is a bit more than just a basic look at some of the player stats. We're actually also going to look at how the team plays, and we are looking today at Sheffield United. I think this will put us in a good place to consider their options should they start doing well in the Premier League this season. All of the stats have come from Fantasy Football Fix, the partner of this channel. Here is a quick video about what you can get from the pre-season pack. Analyse your FPL season with the most comprehensive artificial intelligence tools only on fantasyfootballfix.com. Compare your statistics against the elite managers in the game using 10 unique tools combined with Opta data. Check fantasyfootballfix.com pre-season now and review your season data using the most powerful artificial intelligence platform. Click the link below or head over to fantasyfootballfix.com/preseason for analysis on your 2018-19 season. So we start off with the Sheffield United team on our screens, and there's a consensus that they either play something very similar to a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2, depending on how you see their fullbacks. Sometimes this also has been suggested as a 3-4-1-2, with Duffy being just behind the strikers, but there's a lot more to this tactic than just what the graphics at the start of a game show you. Now, some of you may know, but some won't. Teams have different tactics for different phases of play. In the defensive phase, they'll often line up very differently from the tactics that you will see at the beginning of a match presented to you by a broadcaster. Also in attack, they will probably have a very different formation and setup as well. There's 3 different phases in a football game, and the transition phase is how the team transition between their defensive formation and their attacking formation. And sometimes the actual formation presented to us on TV when we watch a game can be a bit misleading. I would suggest that sometimes Sheffield United in the attacking phase actually almost line up in a 2-4-4, and then in the defensive phase something similar to a 5-3-2 or a 5-4-1. On the screen right now you can see what I'd consider a 5-2-1-2 setup, and you have of course Sharp and McGoldrick up front who pretty much stay there. That is their job, although McGoldrick can drop into the midfield in a 5-4-1 formation when they are defending pretty deep. We have of course Duffy as well sitting just behind him. He is probably the most attacking of the midfielders that they currently have in that 3-man midfield. And then we've got Fleck and Norwood. Now Norwood is usually one that will continue to sit around this deep area. So he is the one that is usually with, and this is where it gets interesting, one of the defenders when I say in the offensive phase they potentially line up as a 2-4-4. We then have a back line, and a lot of managers, of course, were interested in Ender Stevens going into this season, and Baldock, as well as Stevens, tend to run straight down this line here in the attacking phase. They provide width, but they can also cut inside, and there's a reason that they can both cut inside, and that is because sometimes the back line of OConnell, Egan and Basham is not exactly a typical back line, and it's something called a false 5. OConnell and Basham have license to run forward as well, meaning that they can have plenty of players going forward in the attacking phase to try and score themselves some goals. So Basham and OConnell can either go wide of Stevens and Baldock if they cut inside, or vice versa. If when OConnell and Basham run forward, Stevens and Norwood are out wide, providing width, then they can run a bit more centrally into what is considered the half space. Now I'm probably over-exaggerating their attacking threat. They're probably more likely to sit around the kind of similar area that your more attacking midfielders would be in Duffy and Fleck. As Fleck is also allowed to go forward, and it's mainly Norwood, who is the one on set-piece duty as well, who sits around here, ready of course to pick up the ball and distribute it if they lose possession and win it back in the transition phase. Egan is generally the one that does not go forward at all, and with Jagielka coming in, Jagielka could potentially replace OConnell and Basham as one of these false 5s, but it's still to be seen on that during pre-season. And then of course in the defensive phase you can also see that Duffy will drop back and go back to something more similar to that 3-5-2. But there's also the potential for McGoldrick, who isn't the out-and-out goal scorer that Sharp is, to also drop back and line up in something looking like a 5-4-1. And it is this ability to go from very defensive formation like a 5-4-1 or a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2 into a 2-4-4 basically, which is what makes Sheffield United potentially so exciting if they do manage to bring this style of football and implement it successfully in the Premier League. It is offensive, puts opponents under pressure, And they can also see out a game because they have a defensive formation they are ready to drop into. And the false 5, of course, is something very, very interesting to see as well. And now as we go through the stats, you can see how this has affected the likes of Basham and O'Connell. If we start off with Baldock at 4.5 million, 2,096 minutes played, he managed to get 2 assists last season with 15 shots, 4 on target, 17 attempted assists, 2 big chances created. Now Baldock is priced at 4.5 million compared to Ender Stevens because his underlying stats aren't as appealing as Stevens are. Also, with 2,096 minutes, there's a potential, of course, for Sheffield United to look at someone else and potentially bring in someone else at right back, which would be very, very interesting if they do bring someone in and they are priced at 4.5 million in the game. Stevens' exploits in the Championship last season, however, have given him a price of 5 million. That's because 3,849 minutes played saw him get 4 goals and 6 assists, which is a pretty good return for a defender, especially one in a team which actually conceded few goals compared to a lot of their competition, and also a team that were very defensively solid. On top of that, 35 shots on goal, 8 of which were on target, 36 attempted assists with 8 big chances created, and very good stats for a fullback. But what is also interesting, if we go back to 4.5 million price range, Sheffield United actually offers some very attacking centre-backs as well. Looking at Basham at 4.5 million, 3,255 minutes played, 4 goals and 1 assist, with 16 shots, 5 of which were on target, 18 attempted assists and 1 big chance created. But to me, O'Connell also stands out at 4.5 million, probably almost as much as Stevens, because 3,496 minutes played, 3 goals, 3 assists, 25 shots, 5 of which were on target, 14 assists and 4 big chances created. There's the potential, if he can step his game up and Sheffield United can be successful in the Premier League, that this guy could be a steal at 4.5 million. The reason I'm so excited about this defence is because of its attacking potential, but also if we look at how they performed in the Championship last season, 78 goals scored, 41 conceded. Average goals per match in their games was 1.7, but they got 21 clean sheets out of 46 games. They had 13.8 shots per match and 5.54 on target per match. But it's that defensive clean sheet record that, don't get me wrong, I don't think is going to be 21 in the Premier League. If they can get anywhere near 10 and their defenders are still getting those attacking returns for 4.5 million, that is not bad. We move on to Fleck Norwood, and I haven't included Duffy, although his stats were decent in the Championship, because I feel like potentially, and this is what I've heard from all the articles I've read, that Freeman could be replacing Duffy in the lineup. However, Fleck and Norwood seem to be the engine of that midfield, and Fleck at 5 million, 3,795 minutes played, 2 goals and 10 assists with 50 shots, 15 of which were on target, 68 attempted assists and 13 big chances created. That is decent for a £5 million midfielder. And then we have Norwood also at 5 million. He actually sits a bit deeper, but he did manage to get 3 goals and 8 assists from 3,807 minutes played, 57 shots on goal, 11 of them on target with 97 attempted assists and 10 big chances created. Those are some great chance creation stats there. And then potentially we have Freeman coming into that more attacking-minded midfielder role in that 3-man midfield at 5.5 million, more expensive than Fleck and Norwood. He managed to rack up for QPR 3,778 minutes last season, 7 goals and 6 assists with 2 shots per game, 22 key passes and an average rating of 7.02. Those stats are from who scored. So as we can see, their midfield and their defence all have attacking potential. But speaking of attacking potential, I could not ignore the strikers. McGoldrick at 5.5 million. He played 3,130 minutes and got 15 goals and 4 assists from 113 shots, 43 of which were on target. They had 24 attempted assists with 7 big chances created. That is very impressive. However, they have signed Mapor, I think that's how you say his name, from the Championship, who has a better goal-scoring record and could potentially partner Sharp. But Sharp is the main man, and that is why he's coming in at 6 million. 3,020 minutes played, less than some of the people on this team, and he managed to get 23 goals and 4 assists from 75 shots on goal, with 34 of them being on target. 34 attempted assists with 4 big chances created. He is the man that gets the ball in the back of the net for Sheffield United, and he could be joined by another one that can get that job done. And if they do gel quite well, there's the potential for this to be a very good team in the Premier League. Now, I personally am of the opinion that they're likely to struggle in their first season in the Premiership, and I don't think we're going to see a Wolves situation for a while. But if they do somehow start doing well in the Premier League, I am very interested in some of their assets. And then finally, the last point of this episode is to look at Mapoor. He hasn't got a price yet on the Fantasy Premier League game, but last season, 3,719 minutes played, he got 25 goals and 8 assists, 3.3 shots per game, 1.3 key passes per game, and a 7.15 average rating. He could be a great addition to the side. Of course, a lot of their transfers have been players from the Championship. Phil Jagielka has also joined. Potentially, they've got Dean Henderson from Man United coming back on loan. This could be a decent side with some very good FPL assets in it. If you're a Sheffield United fan, please do let me know your opinions on the side below so you can share it with the rest of the community. And if I have said anything wrong, apologies, this is the best research I could do. Sources for the websites I use for my research will be in the description down below if you want to go and check them out yourself. And that is it for this video, so thank you so much for joining and watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please hit that like button, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're informed when I have new videos out. Also, we have relaunched our Patreon. It is only $1. So for $1, you get access to everything that I offer on the Patreon, which is a Discord channel so we can talk about FPL, 2 different types of leagues, one monthly, one a season-long one, where there will be prizes depending on how successful the Patreon is. And a special offer for the first 20 people that join the Patreon, and again, it is only at $1. If you join the Patreon, you will be entered into a competition to win a £20 Amazon gift card. Yes, the first 20 entrants to my Patreon will all get access to a prize. So I'm pretty much giving the first $20 I get back into a prize. With all that being said, I've been JNO. This has been FPL Today. And remember, it's all about the game.